What is going on, Nitro Ninjas? It's your Grandmaster NikkNitro, and welcome to Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. Now, I am not usually a card game channel, I'm mostly a fighting game channel, we all know that. For those of you who are new, yes, I mainly play fighting games, maybe some horror games every now and then, but this is probably my first official competitive trading card game video, which is Yu-Gi-Oh! An all-time favorite, near and dear to my heart when I was a kid growing up, for the anime and the actual trading cards, when I was growing up. And of course, until, all the rules started getting really complicated, summonings became very overpowered, and I thought to myself, I didn't want to play this anymore. Rules are so, broken already. So many decks are broken, but because this game just recently came out and a lot of people tried it, I decided to try it too with one of my favorite decks back in the competitive days, my Buster Blader deck. Buster Blader is one of my favorite cards. Yes, it was because Yugi had it in the original Season 1 series during Battle City and whatnot, and I love this card to death, and I saw there was a whole engine for this card. That's why I made it, back in the competitive days, and I decided to, get as close as I can to the actual deck I had back in the day for this game. Try it out to show people, hey, if you like Buster Blader like I do, use this deck, try it out. And of course, to counter those, pesky Blue Eyes decks that people are climbing the ranks with right now in Master Duel. Anyways, let's get into the video. Let's get into a couple matches. Again, I haven't really, made this deck perfect. There's still a lot that I still have to adjust, but this is what I currently have right now, and just it's getting me through the lower ranks at least. Anyways, let's begin. All right, so with this duel, I definitely wanted to show this one because this person was, as I mentioned earlier in the video, was using a dragon deck or a Blue Eyes Chaos Max deck or whatever. I forgot what the card is called. Anyways, so this is an example of beating those really powerful dragon decks, with a Buster Blader counter. I mean, of course, you'll never know what kind of deck your opponent has, until you actually play against it. But again, a good chance that there's going to be a strong dragon deck user, and Buster Blader is already pretty good in itself. It just so happens that this person was also using dragon, so it just made this deck even stronger. So here's an example of what happened, for this duel. So yeah, as you can see, I do have a Red Eyes insight in here because I do have one Red Eyes card in here. Is the Red Eyes Archfiend. Of course, I don't use Red Eyes Dragoon because that's illegal. Thank God that card is forbidden. That card was absolutely busted. But I do have a Red Eyes Fusion in here. So that Red Eyes Insight is a one of, so I can get Red Eyes Fusion out of the way. And of course, make the deck, a little bit thinner to get the cards that I wanted. So that's why I do have a Red Eyes Insight in this Buster Blader deck. So there's a Red Eyes right there, there's a Red Eyes Fusion. Now I only have one of that, so it's no longer in the deck. And there we go. Of course, want to start it out with, opening with Buster Whelp, because Buster Whelp is your biggest search engine, the thing that is the driving force of your deck. It allows me to, get Buster Blader to the graveyard. I was able to get any of the Destruction Swordsman cards. Specifically this one, I got Destruction, a prologue of the Destruction Swordsman, which allows me to special summon Buster Dragon without synchro summoning, and of course get Destruction Sword Memories into the graveyard, which will get me my big bad Buster Blader Destruction Swordsman Dragon Destroyer. I completely forgot what the name of the card is, but anyways, we'll get to it. Alright, as you can see from, my forgetfulness of the card names, I am not a veteran Yu-Gi-Oh! Card game player. There it is, as I mentioned earlier, Destruction Swords and Memories, Buster Blader to graveyard. Of course, activate that, banish Red Eyes, and banish Buster Blader so that we can fusion summon our big baddie, Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman. There we go. And of course, prologue to get Buster Dragon to the field. Now, I made a mistake right here because I activated Destruction Sword Flash, which if I have a Fusion Buster Blader monster on the field, all monsters on the opponent's side are banished. However, Buster Blader Destruction Dragon Destroyer Swordsman cannot attack directly, so that was kind of my fault right there. It gave me, it made me miss an opportunity to get a good chunk of their life points away. But again, that's a mistake. Learn from my mistakes. Do as I say, not as I do. Alright, I got typical Mystical Space Typhoon. You know, I'm paranoid, so I just got rid of anything on the field. As I mentioned earlier, I can't direct attack with the Buster Blader fusion, so I had to just go with Buster Whelp. And of course, because of my mistake, I also lost Buster Dragon as well, because it only lasts for one turn when it's only special summoned the prologue way instead of the synchro summon way. Nothing really much my opponent can do there. And because of my paranoia, once again, I use another Mystical Space Typhoon to get rid of that face down. And I have Mirror Force there just in case, you know. Alright, I activated Prologue and banished it just in case he wants to, you know, destroy any of my other cards. Well, specifically Buster Whelp. That card doesn't protect Buster Blader Fusion, so that's unfortunate. I don't know what that card was. Again, I'm not a veteran at this game, you know, I'm just playing as I go. Alright, so opponent change. Alright, so it is their turn. I do activate my trap. Well, later. Apparently this player was able to get Chaos Max Dragon, you know, in here. Now because, you know, yeah, as you can see with Blue Eyes Chaos Max, and because, you know, the other cards in the graveyard are dragon types, it increased Buster Blader Fusion's attack power and defense power by like a whole bunch. So you think he's a big baddie? Nah, my card is even a bigger baddie. And because of Buster Blader Dragon Destroyer Swordsman's effect, any dragon type monster on the opponent's side of the field is switched to defensive forcefully, and their effects are negated. Which is the reason why Buster Blader, the Dragon Destroyer Swordsman, is a hard counter to those dragon decks. Alright, Destruction Sword is really good, so I activated another Destruction Sword memory so that I can special summon Buster Blader, the Destruction Swordsman into the field so that I can synchro summon Buster Whelp and Buster Blader into another Buster Dragon permanently this time, so that I can have the, you know, permanent effect of turning all of my opponent's monsters into dragon types. As I mentioned, you know, synchro summon Buster Dragon, very good card. Then of course I activate Memories effect so that I can fusion summon another Buster Blader Fusion into the field. So look at that goodness, both at 4800, you know, it's just gonna destroy any dragon deck out there if set up correctly. And because, you know, it is a dragon type and in defensive mode, this did, you know, a huge chunk of piercing damage. So the fact that he can't attack directly is made up for the fact he does piercing damage. So because if this card can attack directly, that would be the most busted card in this deck right now. All right, and right here, because Buster Dragon is on the field, it changes all the monsters on the opponent's side of the field into dragon types. And if you're a dragon type monster, well, Buster Blader's effect, forcing you to defense position, raising the attack and defense, and negates your effects. And of course, the opponent can definitely feel it by now, so look what happens here. Well, of course, we activate Buster Dragon's effect, which allows me to get Dragon Buster Destruction Sword into the field as an equip card to one of my Buster Blader monsters. And this one specifically, it's while this card is equipped to a monster, the opponent cannot special summon monsters from their extra deck. So I pretty much locked out my opponent by this point, and the opponent realized it by then. That's why they surrendered. And that's how we got our first victory right there with this Buster Blader deck. Alright, so for this next battle, this battle was not a dragon type deck, but this is to show the power of Buster Blader even against opponents who have a non-dragon deck. Simple opener. probably bricked his hand. That's probably the only thing this person can do. That's also one thing as a competitive Yu-Gi-Oh card player, is that you want to make sure that you don't brick as much as possible. You want to be able to do as many moves as possible with your opening hand. That's where, you know, deck structure is you know, a key part, you know, in this, because you can have 40 to 60 cards in your deck. Of course, a lot of you already know this, but keeping the deck to 40 cards is the easiest way to make your deck consistent. So as you see, this is a very good opening, and the moment you have Buster Whelp is already your driving engine, so Buster Whelp is good here. I changed a couple of my cards, so I got Foolish Burial here, I got Trap Trick in here, because my previous fight I didn't have these two cards, so I had to, you know, dismantle a couple of other cards and actually generate these cards, which is a cool feature in this game. You can dismantle and generate the cards you actually want. So of course, opening move, Buster Whelp on the field, get a prologue of the Destruction Swordsman into the field because we're gonna get a bunch of our cards into the graveyard. Then of course Trap Trick because I wanted to get certain other trap cards into the graveyard. So yeah, with summoning Buster Whelp, I was able to get one Destruction Sword card, which I got Destruction Sword Flash, so that I can set it on the field so that when I have my Buster Blader fusion, this card will pretty much be the protector and initiator for that card. Got Foolish Burial here. Got a Buster, I forgot what that card is called, but you'll see. And of course, yes, I did, you know, attack something with higher defense and I lost a good chunk of my life points, but I wanted to know what that card was underneath there so I can get all the information right here. So sometimes you do want to sacrifice something so you get information, so it helps you determine what your next move is going to be. But because I had no idea what this card was, it really didn't even matter. Of course, revealing prologue of Destruction Swordsman so that I can, you know, start my moves, which includes yeah, getting Buster Blader to the graveyard, getting memories into the graveyard, activating that, and then also getting Trap Trick in it. Now, originally I wanted Trap Trick in there because I wanted to get my other trap card called DNA Surgery into the graveyard and onto the field. However, what I didn't realize is that it says banish one normal trap and DNA Surgery is a continuous trap, so I made a huge mistake right here. So I had to, you know, just get another prologue of Destruction Swordsman, you know, in the banished and then into the field. So that was my mistake. That was the best move I can do to make up for that huge blunder of me not reading the, you know, the text properly. And of course, Destruction Swordsman memories, Buster Blader, Dragon Buster into the banished zone so that I can special summon the big bad Buster Blader Dragon Destroyer Swordsman. Oh, I love that card so much. Then of course, Buster Dragon because of the effects of prologue. Alright, now the thing that's happening here is I think this card right here would have done much more. I'm not going to read all the text. If you guys know what the card is, good for you, because I don't. But anyways, so the fact that Buster Dragon turned this one into a dragon type, of course, Buster Blader Fusion negates the effects of any dragon type monster on the opponent's side of the field and forces them to defense mode, but he's already in defense mode, so it didn't matter. So I think this card was supposed to be the driving force, but because of the effects of Buster Blader Fusion and Buster Dragon working together, this just stops the opponent in its you know, in its tracks. Got another Trap Trick. It was not really useful at this moment. So I did want to keep the effects of Buster Dragon as long as possible, because when you summon Buster Dragon with the effects of Prologue, this will go away after one complete turn, so I wanted to prolong the effects of it by summoning another Buster Dragon. And of course, you know, because Prologue was able to get a Buster Blader into the graveyard, I was able to special summon a Buster Blader from the graveyard thanks to the effects of Buster Whelp. And then because it is a Buster Blader monster, as you can see what I'm about to do is I'm going to equip my Buster Blader with Wizard Buster. And Wizard Buster, what happens is my opponent will not be able to activate the effects of monsters in the graveyard, and we know good decks have a lot of graveyard manipulation, so this pretty much stops them from manipulating their graveyard. And then activating Robot Buster. So Robot Buster, when I equip it to Buster Blader right here, what this one does is that any spell or trap that's on the field that's already face up, so like continuous spells or continuous traps, they cannot activate their effects while this is equipped to a monster. So with this card and this card, they can't manipulate their graveyard, and they can't activate effects on their, you know, their magic and trap zone. So again, another lockout. Of course, you know, you got to do that piercing damage. Now the thing with Buster Blader, Buster Blader Destruction Swordsman is that whenever a monster is destroyed on the opponent's side of the field, I can equip it to my Buster Blader and save it, you know, for, you know, it's just a case of emergency in later plays. So I get their card, I equip it to me. And of course, having him out to direct attack is also a good plus. So yeah, one turn is complete, Buster Dragon's gone. Now with the effects of Buster Dragon, I can equip another card from my graveyard to one of my Buster Blader monsters. Now the reason I got Dragon Buster here is so that when he's equipped, any cards in my opponent's extra deck are completely locked out. So all these equipped cards just lock out my opponent. Wizard Buster will lock out the opponent's graveyard. Robot Buster will lock out the effects of magic and trap cards, and Dragon Buster will completely lock out the opponent's extra deck. So this setup right here is just complete shutdown. Of course, Buster Dragon had to go because that was special summoned through the effects of Prologue. It wasn't synchro summoned properly. If I can synchro summon Buster Dragon to the field, oh my gosh, it will just cause complete permanent lockdown. Buster Whelp on my deck. Alright, that's good. Don't need to really do that, so destroyed him, and then direct attack with Buster Blader. And that is a complete shutdown, lockdown effect of Buster Blader, even against non-dragon type decks. So yeah, that's pretty much just an example of using, you know, Buster Blader, you know, as, you know, the main monster of the deck. You know, again, I'm not, you know, a veteran player. I am not, you know, a Yu-Gi-Oh channel. I'm mainly a fighting game channel, but I do love playing games. I do love making content. So that's why I am showing at least this one, because a lot of other people, even fighting game players, have decided to try out Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, and I see on Twitter they're posting their different types of ways to climb the ranks, and a lot of them are using dragon type decks. And so I figured, hey, why don't I use something not only that counters dragons, but is one of my favorite monsters in the entire Yu-Gi-Oh! Series, and so killing two birds with one stone. And so that's why I made this video. Anyway, so here's the deck profile if you want to try it out. Again, this is not the perfect deck profile. This is not saying that, oh, this is the deck you want to use. This is just what I'm currently using right now. Obviously, after this video, I am still upgrading the deck, changing out cards, making it much more consistent and stable for, you know, the future. And who knows, maybe I can climb all the way up to platinum with this deck. But again, that's just dreaming big. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed this video. If you have anything to say about this video, please leave some in the comment section below. Give this video a thumbs up, and if you can, subscribe so that you can be up to date with all the new content that's appearing on my channel and whatnot. I know my channel is a little bit slow right now, considering I'm also in the US visiting. I won't be back in the Philippines for like another month, but up until then, hopefully this can at least entertain you guys and maybe play some Yu-Gi-Oh! And have some fun just as much as I am. Anyways, hope you all enjoyed. Thanks to all the members of the Nitro Ninjas. This is your Grandmaster NikkNitro. Stay awesome, my ninjas.